interesting, and I'm going to go first to our special guest, Kareem. Listen, Kareem, that a game came out last year that was very polarizing. A lot of people loved it. Some people beat it 8, 9, 10 times. Some people have, you know, 45 days in this game. They can't get enough of it. Shattered Space is coming out. The DLC we should get some sort of a trailer this June. Of course, I'm talking about Starfield, one of the most underappreciated games of 2023. I got 5 days and some change in it, and people are just looking at me with their nose up in the air, like, wow, 5 days, Boom, you should be ashamed of yourself. And, listen, I beat the game 5 days. I want to run through it again, but I'm holding off for the DLC. Why am I bringing this up, Kareem? Well, thanks to, of course, Insider Gaming. This particular article was written by Grant Taylor Hill. He's one of the journalists for Insider Gaming. That is Tom Henderson's website. And it goes on to say in the opening story, Starfield secured a unique player count record in 2023. And this is where it gets interesting, because there were a lot, Kareem, of single-player games last year. But you know what one game that ruled them all? Well, folks, that would be Starfield. And you know what? You would probably never know that, thanks to the gaming media, who is dumped all over this game. According to the report from Newzoo, they went on to say it was made clear that live service titles continue to reign supreme over everything else in the industry on every platform. Fortnite boasted the highest MAUs through 2023, followed closely by the likes of Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and of course Roblox. There were some special mentions for Counter-Strike and League of Legends and Rainbow Six Siege, Apex Legends, and of course Rocket League. But this is why this game is special, continues to remain special, and a highlight that it is currently and still remains an Xbox and PC exclusive. According to the report, Starfield was a standout example among these lists, which took the data from 37 markets around the world, and it was the only single-player exclusive game to hit the top 10 on a global scale, which was likely thanks to the game launching as a part of Xbox Game Pass in September of 2023. It wound up in 8th place overall, sitting between Rocket League and Apex Legends. Kareem, this is a really big deal. And like I said, if you read some of the highlights and the bylines from some of the gaming media, you would never know this if you were a normie. Let's talk about it. The only single-player game to be in the top 10 across all 4 platforms, that is something special.
To be honest with you, I'm not even surprised. The game had a lot of hype and it was very, very huge. I mean, it's really what kicked off a lot of my love for what's going on right now with Xbox's direction. Yep. And I honestly enjoyed the game. I have over 100 hours in it, and I still didn't beat the story because I'm trying to do everything else. I'm very meticulous when I play the game. I like to do all those little, building my house and all that. But so far, I'm really, really happy to hear that, to be honest with you, because the game deserves it.
It does. It does. It certainly garnered a significant amount of distaste. I think a lot of that stemmed from it being an Xbox exclusive. And I think that what we've seen in the gaming media about, the quote unquote Xbox tax, this is the perfect example of a game being taxed and being shunned and shuttered and lower scored just based on the fact that it wasn't on people's preferred platform. Because I've said this before, and I've said it again, Kareem, if this would have been a PlayStation exclusive, everyone, including Jeff Keighley and all of the big gaming media sites, would have heralded this their game of the year. It's the greatest Bethesda game ever made. This it's going to have a reach even far beyond anything they've done before. But that wasn't the case. And based on the way a lot of reviews were written, you can tell that distaste made its way into the review, and they were already 2 points removed from it based on the fact that it was an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, I'm call me conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to call me, but I do believe that there is some sort of tax. I mean, let's be real here. It's evident, it's obvious, with how the media just kind of portrays Microsoft and the Xbox. Of course, they're on the side of like, oh, this is bad. It's all Microsoft's fault that this game is exclusive. But they never say anything when something is exclusive on PlayStation. It gets heralded as something amazing. Um, I feel honestly that this is completely true. That it would only do, I mean, it would still rate higher, even if it's just 3, 4 points, 5 points,
Hmm.
or even 1 point. It's still going to rate higher on PlayStation just because it's on PlayStation, where there's, a huge, audience of players who feel that this is, that this is something that should be on their platform, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm still glad Microsoft picked it up because it was going to be exclusive anyway to PlayStation. It was not going to be on PC. It was not going to be
Yep.
on Xbox. So I believe that it's better at home where at Microsoft. You get to play it on PC also. I got it on PC also. I haven't played on PC yet. I've been playing it just on Xbox, but I do believe there is a tax. And
Yep.
yes, I do believe Jeff Keighley probably would have spoke a lot more favorably of it if it
I
was
do.
on PlayStation.
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it sold very well. It did very well for Game Pass. As a matter of fact, we did learn that when it did launch on Game Pass, that it broke records for subscribers that have never been reached before since its inception in 2017. That was confirmed by Microsoft themselves. That it is a big deal. Gamsley, let's bring you in because
Oh, yes.
we have here Brian Gelbout, who says well, I guess he's assuming that it was because it was 30 frames per second, and that's an interesting. So, Brian, thanks so much for being here, brother, and thank you so much for that because I actually would have not even thought about having that conversation with Gamsley regarding that. There's a game out right now that is probably uh, taken the world by storm called Dragon's Dogma 2, running at 30 frames on consoles, and it is widely accepted. It is widely championed as it's my game of the year already. It's one of the best games I've played in years. Like, we've been very lucky as gamers. Obviously we've had Elden Ring, we've had Zelda, um Tears of the Kingdom. We have had Starfield, and now this year we have Hogwarts is another one. Tip of the spear for me. And now this year, right? It's already been a banger of a year, and we're only in in April. We have Dragon's Dogma 2 running at 30 frames. No one, and you don't see anyone driving the negativity towards it because it's 30 frames. And people like Pong Soul and Mav and Steel Rain, who are really enjoying this game, have really good PCs. Well, that's where they're playing it, and they're able to play it in 60, so that they're enjoying it that way. Let's reel this back in and talk about this negativity for Starfield. Turns out that it was the only single player game across 4 platforms, that is Nintendo, that is PC, that is PlayStation and Xbox, that made it into the top 10 played games of 2023. That is a really big deal. Let's talk about it, Gamsley.
Well, I mean, first off, I think Nintendo did have some up there, but Nintendo is a special beast, as we know. Third parties aren't there, so all the big games like Valorant and I don't know, Call of Duty and stuff like that, it's not the same list, right? The only exception in all 4 platforms that consistently got the top one, and that you could probably do the math that if the other games were on the Nintendo platform, it's Fortnite being number 1 across all of them. So
It
if
was
Call of
across
Duty was
all
there,
4 platforms.
yeah, exactly. So if Call of Duty was there, all the other games that are in the top 5 were on Nintendo. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's, first party, stuff would drop a little bit. So yeah, it's really impressive on all accounts, regardless that Starfield made that list, because I mean, it's standing with giants. So I'm not surprised. Look, I've said it multiple times. Bethesda, with a mix of other things like Activision games popping up and having the marketing, was a big part of why 360 was such a juggernaut. Bethesda, their relationship with Bethesda really pushed them forward in a lot of ways in the first place, and now they're under the same wing. So I'm not surprised that Bethesda did well here. It has a giant following. Everybody knows what Bethesda games are. It's just not surprising. It never was. I did it hit the way some people wanted it to hit? Would it have been even bigger if it hit the way people wanted it to hit? Probably, but as it stands now, I'm still impressed by the numbers. There's nothing else to say. It's all positive stuff. Good for them. Good for Bethesda for weathering the negativity storm, and good for Xbox for having something to gloat about and be happy about. And
Absolutely.
Xbox
Now, you know what?
gamers
Let me
running
correct
with it.
myself because you are correct. The story that was reporting was 37 platform markets, 37 markets, not counting Nintendo. So we're talking about
Okay,
PC,
yes.
PlayStation, and Xbox. I have the report in front of me. Pardon me, folks, for reading it the wrong way. Switch did have a lot of first-party stuff there. Mario Brothers Wonder was 3. Legend of Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom was 2.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite was 1. Mario Kart,
Mm-hmm.
unsurprising, was 4. Minecraft 5. Pokemon Scarlet Violet 6. Fall Guys 7. Well, Fall Guys, I'm shocked for there. Animal Crossing,
Yeah.
wow, that's another old one. 8.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy made their top 10 at 9. And Super Smash Brothers Ultimate at 10. So again,
Yeah.
when I get it wrong, I got to come front facing and be like, yep, what they were talking about in that report was the 37 markets that included Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So thank you for the correction there, brother.
Yeah, it's all good. It's not no big deal, but like as I've said, if Nintendo did have those third parties in there, it might muddy those numbers a little bit more. But grats on Nintendo. I think they're one of the only ones that could get away with stuff like that and have it still in the their games still in the top 5 or 4. Yeah, all around good stuff by Bethesda. I'm glad for them. As I said, glad for Xbox, pushing through that storm of BS. With the things under the wing, Boom, like if you look at all the consoles, everything, all the data, what's on those top 5s and 10s? A lot of Xbox owned IP as well. So Call of Duty is going to be massive for Xbox, and yeah, I don't know why everybody's been doom and gloom about them when they're on the top of the charts. I mean, they have all these ridiculous loyal fan bases underneath them, and I just don't get the hate.
Yeah, you know what? It's still a mystery to me. I've seen it over the weekend. A lot of disenchanted Xbox gamers. I think there was I'll be honest with you, a lot of disingenuous takes, to be quite honest with you. And again, we don't name names here because we don't, first of all, we don't do drama, and we don't do hate based content. If people have that opinion, by all means, have the opinion. I certainly do not agree with that because there is a lot to get excited about just based on this weekend. How many good positive stories for Xbox did come on the weekend, no less? Just one after another, one after another. And shout out to Jez Corden. I know he got a lot of flack from like the report that opinion piece he did. We talked about it on Friday's Breakfast with Boom. Listen, it's his opinion. I agreed with most of it. I have a few things, some pushbacks, but you know what? That's fine. We're not going to agree on everything, especially when it talks about getting the more things onto the platform in the form of potentially Steam and the Epic Game Store. I'm all for that. Based on his opinion, he didn't think that he didn't like that. That's fine. We're not going to agree on everything, but he had 2 stellar follow-up stories. And if you're not following Jez Corden, folks, you're doing it wrong. He is, in my opinion, tip of the spear when it comes to journalistic integrity, and I do like the way he writes. And I'm hoping to run into him this June. Fuzzy Belvedere, I want to bring you in on the conversation. But first, let me catch up on Super Chats here. Adidas 20 drops an outstanding $10 Super Chat, and he says June 9th, 2024, and all he has is a ton of Gears skulls. Indeed, and of course, Crispy will appreciate that because, well, he has one in his tag as well. We also have Sith Lord drop a very generous $2 Super Chat today. Boom. Happy Eclipse Day. Are you excited for it? Listen, after the earthquake we had live on the air for Breakfast at Boom, man, if the eclipse happens, I think it's 2:00 here. I'm just afraid that vampires are going to come out. Maybe we don't see the sun again. I don't know. It's just,
Oh no, the
way this
world's going to
world
transform
is,
into Redfall.
it might be a
No.
Redfall situation, folks.
Oh, no.
And
Do you
I'm ready
know that
for it.
earthquakes usually supersede where eclipse happens?
I saw something. I saw a report on that. I was like, I don't know because I like science and everything. But I was talking to somebody today, and they're like, yeah, there might have been one to go with the other. Listen, this world is acting very, very strange. But we're gonna have the eclipse, so don't look at it, folks, unless you have the proper glasses, and make sure they're the proper glasses. Last thing you want to do is go blind. But look, Fuzzy, let's reel this back in and let's continue the talk on Starfield, a game that you played, and if I'm not mistaken, you were running multiple builds, multiple saves, multiple games.
Yep.
I don't know how your head didn't explode. Let's talk about it. Again, the only out of the three major players, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, through 37 markets, this new report has come to the conclusion that only one single player game made the top 10. That was Starfield. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, whether people want to admit it or not, there was a lot of people that played that game and enjoyed it, but maybe secretly hated it for a number of different reasons. And were there, criticisms to be had for the game? Sure. But I think all in all, it was what a lot of people wanted, or close enough to the point where a lot of people would want a modern day Mass Effect. A lot of people would want like a modern day rendition of, like, whether it be a Star Wars like game without it being a Star Wars IP, or Star Trek, or whatever you want to point to as far as a space related sci-fi game. This had all the elements of it. And if you're a sci-fi nut like me, you would have put a lot of hours into it. Sure, people complained about loading screens. Sure, people complained about, well, it's not a completely seamless open world. And that's fine as far as the criticisms are concerned. But if you focus just on those as opposed to all of the other things that make that game special, whether it's the persistent world where, hey, you could drop gear here on this planet and then 2 weeks later come back to that same planet and find that gear in that same exact spot. Those are things that you don't usually find in most games. Most of the time, a dead body or a particular piece of loot might just disappear after, you turn around, kind of deal, or after a certain amount of time, it kind of clears the cache kind of deal. But, in the grand scheme of things, it's amazing to me that game received the amount of hate that it did, although it was to kind of be expected considering it was an Xbox exclusive. I mean, had it been still a multi-plat, I don't think it would have received anywhere near the criticism. It did get a lot of, 9s and 10s, but it seemed like some of the bigger outlets were, destined to, point out, oh, it's only a 7 out of 10, but then keep on reminding you week after week that it's a 7 out of 10, when any other game that I've ever seen in the past 10, 15 years, they review it once, and that's the last time you hear about them, bringing it up, unless there's a sequel to that game. I don't remember anybody really saying, oh, well, we scored Assassin's Creed Odyssey, a 9, a month later, and then 2 months later, or even when Valhalla came out, I don't think they even brought up how they scored Odyssey. So it was just weird to me that you had certain news outlets, constantly try to nitpick or get their point across that they didn't enjoy the game because it wasn't, in their vision, the game of the generation for whatever, predetermined ideals they had for that. But aside from that, I mean, I would have expected maybe Spiderman to appear on there, but that kind of goes to show you that it didn't. And I won't say that it didn't have the staying power, but it is a smaller experience. Yes, it has, more, open world as far as like for New York compared to the previous Spider-Man, but there isn't as much that you can extend out and have in replayability once you beat the main story.
Right.
With when it comes to Starfield, you had New Game Plus. I mean, you don't even have to complete the story. You could just live your life as, a space pirate if you want and continue doing that, or a space cop and continue doing that and not even really touch the main, forks of the story. that entire time and have a good time doing so. You could just, imagine that you're Buck Rogers and going into space battles constantly and not have to do any planetary exploration or anything. So there's so many things that game offers to you in that one, unique RPG package that only Bethesda can deliver. And to have it make the top 10, across all those markets should show that, that game in itself was a lot more special than people try to deny it that it was. And this is all before the official, modded community gets a hold of it. Sure, there are mods out there now, but once the tools are out there, it's going to be above and beyond what we even expect. Plus, there's the DLC that's, on the near horizon here. So that's going to probably bring a lot of those players back. So I don't know. It was just a weird thing for, people to say, oh, well, the player base fell off. It's a single player game. I don't recall anybody ever looking at another single player game's, player count in comparison, months later, but whatever. But yeah, it's great to see that title made it. It would have been nice if other single player titles made it, because then that would show that there is still, a market for single player games. I mean, there's still a market. It's just that it's not anywhere near as big as we would like to imagine it, considering, the juggernauts that was on everybody's list, which was Fortnite, Call of Duty being on those same main three, obviously not being on the Nintendo one for reasons. But, all of those free-to-play games, all of those big multiplayer games had a strong showing. And for a game that came out of the box, I can't even remember what it was, because I got it for under 60 when it came out. But I think it was a $70 game at the time of launch. And for it to make that list is a strong showing in and of itself. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if you look at, like I said, for instance, let's just talk about PlayStation. What were PlayStation's top 10 games? Fortnite at 1, Grand Theft Auto at 2, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Warzone number 3, EA Sports FC24, Roblox, Rocket League, Minecraft, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Siege, Apex Legends, Fall Guys. All right. All
Siege still? What
Siege,
the
Siege,
hell?
yeah, number 8. Yeah, believe it or
Yeah.
not. Actually, it's better. It does better on Xbox. Let's get to the PC. What were the top 10 games in the 37 markets that were counted? Fortnite number 1, Roblox 2, Minecraft number 3, Counter-Strike 2 and Go, The Sims 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Warzone, League of Legends, Valorant, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Rocket League. Now on Xbox, it went like this: Fortnite, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Warzone 2.0, Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, Roblox, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege at 6, Rocket League, Starfield, Apex Legends, and FIFA 23.
Yeah.
Crazy,
Yeah,
right?
if I could just cut in for a single second.
Sure,
and
absolutely,
If
brother.
you could, if you looked at the showcase, I think 2 years ago, I don't know when they made that Riot contract, but if you follow Xbox very seriously and you look at their patterns, you can see what they're going after, and you can see where they know players are. League of Legends, Valorant, they make a partnership. They have Minecraft, which is in the top freaking 10 of everywhere. They get Call of Duty. They're going after the junk food pieces. Like, they really are going for longevity and revenue and a healthy revenue stream so they could grow themselves. I mean, it's always been in the cards, and Xbox, if you look at these lists, are pretty set up for multiple years to come, and I just don't see how we don't see that. Even, the thing that pops out the most and what can be discourse here is, like, look at The Sims 4, right? The Sims 4 is the top 5 in PC gaming, and everybody doesn't talk about Sims 4, but the reality is games like these are gigantic, probably bigger than most first-party games anywhere on any platform. And we don't hear about Sims 4, do we? And we always ask the same question: why the hell is Sims 4 even at showcases anymore, or like around PC showcases anymore? Well, this is why. People are playing them. Get with the times.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all of these games that you hear, they're making money. A lot of them are most of them are service games.
Well,
And they're making tons of money.
One quick thing I'd like to add as well.
Sure.
If you look at PlayStation, they just got Roadblocks, and that already climbed up to 5 within a year's
Yes.
time. It climbed
Yep.
up past all of those other titles. So that's, a feat in itself. And then if you look at Xbox, we still have FIFA 23 charting as opposed to 24. Considering it's already in Game Pass with ePlay, that goes to show that there's probably a larger fan base that own Xboxes that are also subscribed to Ultimate, which is kind of what we believed to begin with. But that's the only way I could see 23 doing better than EA FC 24. So it goes to show that and Grand Theft Auto was another one that was also in Game Pass for an extended period of time. I think it might be back in there as well. So that also charting. I think Tom Clancy is also another one that is bounced in and out of Game Pass. So it looks like with Xbox, you're not only getting players that are playing a lot more of the same popular titles, but you're also getting the benefit, if you're a subscriber to Game Pass, access to a lot of those and probably even perks for those as well. So it's real telling.
Indeed it is. Crispy Bomb, let's bring you in on the conversation. Again, if you just do a quick glance at the way the media covered Starfield, you think it was a failure. You think that nobody played this game. You think it'd be a buggy mess. You think it wouldn't be considered one of the best things to come out of Bethesda in a decade, right? But the numbers don't lie. The only single player story-driven title come out and be in the top 10. But and again, we're talking monster platforms: PlayStation, monster platform; PC, behemoth; and Xbox. Xbox is no slouch, and it came in at number 8 on Xbox. The only single player game to make this list. This is a big deal. I think it really does shut down the negative narrative that this game was a flop.
I mean, let's be honest here. Where's Spider-Man 2 at for PlayStation?
You know what? I think he is stopping a robbery on 35th and 8th, to be honest with you.
No, don't do this.
Total sense.
Don't do
No. Boom's from New York. He can say that. All right.
He's not winning another award at the Game Awards.
All right.
Yes.
Oh no, we're getting dirty.
It came out of left field and threw a haymaker.
Okay. All right. We're getting messy here, and I love the messiness. Boom knows it. I love it. But the fact is that Starfield is on another level than Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man might have the story-driven narrative visuals that some of these PlayStation gamers absolutely go ham for, but apparently don't buy the game. I don't know. You got Starfield. Starfield, okay. People will be like, oh, Spider-Man 2 didn't release on a PC. Okay.
Or a Game Pass.
That doesn't mean I have to download it if I have Game Pass, right? I don't. Do you have that? Oh, wait, you don't have that option. I'm sorry that you don't have that option, that you have to pay $70 and I just subscribe to Game Pass and play a game. I'm sorry for that. There's nothing I can do for you. You have to realize that there's also a lot of elements involved in the game. And I'm only maybe 4 hours played the game. Went from being and doing everything that I'm supposed to do to saying, okay, I'm going to go to the moon and then I'm going to go to the Earth because I want to see what that's about. And I'll tell you right now, don't go to Earth. Just don't. It's a train wreck. You're not...